Stevens, and I'm standing in the meadow at the Little River Poetry Festival, the first of its kind in Floyd, Virginia.
Hi, I'm Jack Callan. It was while kayaking. Right over here to the right of me is a kayaking business called On the Water Kayaking. And the owner is a friend of mine, Daniel Sowers, and he rented two canoes, or kayaks, excuse me, to my wife Judith and I, and we paddled down the river, and we came to this big, gigantic rock overhang on the river. And immediately we thought we would like to bring our friends up here to read poetry. And it was just going to be, to just ride down the river, read poetry there, and that was it. And from that, and talking to Daniel, we decided to put a tent up in this field, and I built a stage and signs and stuff. And then we just asked all of our poet friends who live in the Hampton Roads area to join us. And we figured, a few would say yes. Almost everybody said yes. And we were like, oh my gosh, this is really going to happen. So it just started as a kernel on the river. And over the past year here, it has morphed into a lot of people out here in this field having a wonderful time, and sometimes maybe experiences up here in the mountains that they could never get if they didn't have the generosity of my friend giving us this perfect pasture and a beautiful river nearby to where we would only be like a tourist passing through. And here we can hang out here, we can hike around here, and anytime we want, just jump in the river and go swimming too.
Today was great. This morning we had a gourmet breakfast with Chef Richard Perry delivering the food to our campground. We had yoga at 7, breakfast at 8, and then at 9 o'clock the hikers departed for Buffalo Mountain. They climbed and wrote poetry and came back, and the rest of us stayed here, and we had 3 poetry workshops. Form poetry on writing Pleiades and Afghanistan, Land Day poetry, and then Tanya Cunningham did a wonderful poetry on writing narratives. So it was great. And then we had a little circle of people, and we talked about writing as a craft. And all of the poets talked about what was important to them and shared their ideas and tips. And I think people got good ideas from that.
I'm a featured poet this year. I get to do a workshop and a 30-minute reading with Tony Wynn. That starts tonight at 7:45. I'm really excited to do that. My workshop is about narrative poetry and free verse. So we're going to use a little bit of music to get us started. We're going to listen to a really classic Tracy Chapman song to get us in the mood to tell a story, and then we'll go from there.
I did all I could to prepare him for this world. Hinted the color of good coffee, I knew he couldn't hide his essence behind collared shirts and neckties. Couldn't blend well with degrees and make-believe memberships, but I hoped I could camouflage him.
But our primary thing was poetry. That was so important to us. And my wife and I actually met at a poetry reading and fell in love about 6 months later. And it's been a joy for us to share our lives together as poets. And then when we came up here and we just kept loving this place together, we wanted our friends to come up here. And so it's happened. It's like, here we are. It is a real thing. And there are people over there sitting in a tent waiting for a workshop to begin in a few minutes, and people going down the river, and more people. I'm even looking over here. There's cars pulling in, and more people are going to be here today. We have no idea the number.